Hi everyone. This is my screen recording in which I'm going to explain the grade level writing portfolio. It's very important that you listen to this video all the way through, and if you can't listen to the video all the way through, you should at least follow the PowerPoints that I'm showing you here and that are attached to the same link on our Blackboard page. Okay, in this presentation, I'm first going to describe the assignment. I'm going to give you some information about the group process that I would like you to go through and some getting started information. Okay, what is the grade level portfolio? Well, this is the culminating assignment for this course. It's a group project. So you will work with your grade level group, and if your grade level group is too big, we'll break it up a little bit into smaller groups. But you guys can decide which format you want to use to discuss things with each other. It's just that you have to present things to me in a certain format each week, so they have to be submitted to me somehow. But if you guys want to use other formats in order to collaborate with each other, I'll let you decide that. I do want the entire group to be on board with whatever format you decide on. So it's not fair to choose a format that someone's not familiar with, that they have to work extra hard just to get to know it. So I want everyone to be on board with whatever format you choose. But other than that, you can decide to use Blackboard or other things, however you decide to communicate. Okay, moving on. The writing portfolio is based on an understanding of how people write going through a process that we call the writing cycle. And basically, it assumes that students in your course are going to be brought through a process of exploring, planning, drafting, revising, proofreading, and sharing their work. And with each of those stages, you would teach the students different strategies and do various different things. But this portfolio is basically going to be presenting materials that you could use for that kind of instruction. Okay, so what is a grade level portfolio? Well, this is a portfolio or a collection of materials, prompts, and assessments for teaching writing at your particular target teaching level, context, or grade level. So what you're doing is you're imagining that you're offering ideas to other teachers or sharing professional information about how you would teach a course. So you're sharing materials and various things you would use to teach writing at your level. At the same time, the assignment assumes that the materials you use are going to address the writing process, writing strategies, addressing particular written genres, and using portfolio and formative assessment. So it's not like this is how you necessarily currently teach writing. We're trying to get you to try out these new ways that you may not have tried before, or to demonstrate that you understand how to teach writing in these particular ways. That's my assessment of your learning in my course. If you want to know exactly what's required in this assignment, the best thing to do is to look at the rubric for this assignment in our Blackboard site. So what you do to find that is you go to our Blackboard folder, and I'm just going to enter a student preview so it looks the same to you as it does to me. Okay, when you open my course, you're on this Getting Started page. Over here, you click on Assignments on the left, and in the assignments, there are folders for each of our assignments. Not all of them are up here yet as I'm making this screencast, but you will see folders for each of our assignments here. Okay, click on the grade level portfolio, and here is what you'll find along with this screencast. So the portfolio rubric is right here, and you just click on it to link to it. Let me actually open that up. Portfolio rubric. Okay, our portfolio rubric looks like this. So as you can see, each thing that needs to be included in the portfolio is listed here. So these are all the things I'm going to be looking for that need to be in your portfolio. So as you're going through, you need to look at this and see what needs to be actually in the portfolio itself. And you have everything completely laid out here. Okay, so going back to my presentation. The rubric delineates the maximum number of points possible for each component of the portfolio, and it also indicates how the portfolio should be organized. So each of those things can be in the order in which it's listed on the rubric. Okay, the different parts of the portfolio. This is just the beginning parts of the portfolio right here. You're going to have a cover page. You're going to have a table of contents, an introduction, a philosophy statement, author biographies, and sample content or themes to be addressed. So these are the introductory parts of your portfolio. Let's look at each one of those parts, and you can come back to this PowerPoint presentation to get this description. For the introduction, you're just going to discuss the general purpose of the portfolio. So you can look at some of the samples that I provided on Blackboard to see what this looks like. But this is just a really brief intro. Here's my portfolio. It's a writing class. It's such and such a level. Just describing the general purpose and the general contents or design of the portfolio. You're going to have author biographies. So anyone who participated in creating this portfolio and who was an active participant will have a biography. And it tells me who worked on the portfolio. So just include pertinent information about each person. You're going to have more specific directions, but you know, your names, where you're currently working or teaching or where you hope to teach, various relevant professional information like that. There will be a philosophy statement. Now this is sort of if you were to create a teaching portfolio for yourself for your professional life, you would have teaching philosophies there where you talk about your thoughts about teaching and your philosophies and approaches and things that you do when you teach. This philosophy statement explains why a portfolio is important and why portfolio assessment is beneficial. So you describe various choices that you made in the portfolio and why those choices are reasonable or important. You're providing a rationale for portfolio assessment, for the writing process, for teaching strategic writing, and for teaching written genres, all of which are components of this portfolio that you'll be including. So you just need to explain those things and give a philosophy about that. In section 1, as you can see on the rubric here, the contents of learners' portfolios, you have to describe 4 writing genres with a link to a model for each one. So a link to a model basically means there's some kind of example or model essay that exemplifies that genre. Okay. So it would be a model that you would show to your students, or it could be a model of a student-written piece of work. Now, there need to be 3 writing prompts for each genre that you choose. So your group's going to choose 4 genres, and for each of the genres, there will be 3 writing prompts. So it's 12 total. Okay, and we're going to come to this later, but there's going to be at least 1 rubric for each genre. So think of it this way. You're going to describe 4 genres that you could teach at your teaching level. You're going to have 3 example assignments you could use or prompts that you could use to teach that genre, and then a rubric that you would use to evaluate that piece of writing amongst your students. So there could be different, for example, if you were teaching really young children, they often write little stories or poetry. Sometimes they do some nonfiction writing, like descriptions of the science experiments they're doing or things like that. Whereas older children write different kinds of genres. They might write more persuasive pieces or reports, letters, those kind of things. And as they get even older, they start writing more academic genres or professional genres. So you have to choose genres that work for your teaching context and teaching level. Now, in the evaluation section, you have various things that you need to discuss, how students will self-assess and reflect on their writing, how teachers will assess the students' writing, and you need to include things like checklists, rubrics, and different types of self-assessments that you would have students doing. So let's look at the rubric again. The evaluation of learners' portfolios, self-assessment, how teacher will assess student text, sample rubrics, one for each genre, and any way that you would capture anecdotal records. That's something that's very typical of portfolio assessment. The next part of your portfolio will describe how you provide feedback and conference with your students. So you'll be describing all of the different types of conferences that are typically undertaken in a process-based approach and a writer's workshop. So some of those are teacher-student conferences, peer-to-peer conferences, writing assessment conferences, and portfolio conferences. And we'll read more about those as we get to the week on feedback and conferencing. Finally, you'll talk about how student work is showcased. So again, in a process-based approach, we want to know how will students share their work, present their work, or display their work so that they're writing for a real audience. And so you describe the purpose of sharing, the different ways you'll have students share or publish or display their work, and just how that's going to work. And also how if you're teaching kids who have parents, then how will you conference with parents as well. All right, this is a lot to take in, so there's a couple things that I want you guys to do. One is that you can look at the samples that are provided on Blackboard. So if you go to our Blackboard site, again, here I'm in the grade level portfolio folder, then you see here you can click on a sample ePortfolio, and here it is. I'll just open it up. I'm going to add more samples, but they're not up there yet. This is from 2013. So as you can see, there's a table of contents here, and you can open up or close this assessment part. But each of the different components is here. So you can see how these two students handled each part of the portfolio. For example, here's the introduction. Welcome to our ePortfolio. We hope you find the information to be useful. So you can see that the introduction is very short, whereas the philosophy is longer with an explanation of why the authors made the choices that they did regarding different aspects of the portfolio. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording here because this is getting rather long, but in the next part of this series, I'm going to talk more about the group process and how the portfolio work for the portfolio is going to be organized. See you soon.